Yes?
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
No. I won't even try. You know... I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad. Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornament The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt.
You're bad with kids. Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now? We're not getting anything here.
Yes. Yes.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it. The kids don't reply, absorbed in their little game.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Like I said, fish mostly. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. Mines. Mines. You need mines.
Well, the RCM has to wait for another one, because some army folks came by, took it in the middle of the bay and blew it up. The blast was surprisingly timid for such a huge spiky thing. Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Hi. Sunny days. You got a problem with that?
No, ma'am. We have no quarrel with sunny days.
Good. It would have been bad news had it turned out it wasn't a sunny day. Bad news for the skiff, bad news for the nets, bad news for the kids.
There's a moment's silence. She looks at the rain streaming down the yellow belly of the boat.
In time, when the sea turns and the winds settle, she will be ready.
Waves wash the sand. A skiff moves across the mirror-smooth sea, far away from here. A lone passenger, a fast sloop in the distance. White sails. My prediction, it will be at least 2 days.
Oh? Who? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them.
That does not go for real men. It does not go for you. Show her. Show her the wonder. Coach means the expression.
Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Come. To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. A bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles.
She really liked those muscles, though. It's in the way she pronounces sinewy.
Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.
The legend returns. You know the dance. Smokable smokes, pissable pilsner. Drink it, then convert it to...
Hey, tequila. Welcome to reality. How's it treating you?
Danko. Danko.
There's no waking him from his stupor. His mind is elsewhere. You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot suzunti.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts. I still have a golden ear. Come, come. Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're considered an ill omen. No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place, somewhere more quiet.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black Hound. Maybe they are afraid. Because you're an ill omen. But you're still welcome here. As long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then. Because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage, and not a lot of houses, or a lot of people. My kids are long gone, searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Stay? Most people here are trying to leave. That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there. Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the police.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap. A blank spot on the map. Just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. That's the pox.
Between here and Jamrock, a dusty sea of old trees, all covered in industrial soot. Small houses under them, an overgrown park.
An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be. during the time of the suzerain. After the war, it was turned into a goodwill hospital for shell-shock veterans and folks looking for some quiet in the old sanatorium gardens. Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinder-block houses, shacks as far as the eye can see. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east, but they're away right now. And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Home is home, even for them. Lillian is tough. Tougher than the men here, at least. If it wasn't for her and the kids, this place wouldn't have a spark of life left. I'm sure you did. Nature keeps them in rotation. A new face pops up every now and then an old one disappears and is forgotten. This is who we are. Here, for you? No, officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women and then forgot about. The lack of wealth is the one thing we've got in abundance.
Riddles. Fits with the general ambiance here.
Aye. Sometimes it's as though I'm also gotten lost inside this nameless nothing. Oh, it seems to be a common theme these days. Isn't that what people always think when they are lost? Something I can do for you to find your way, officer?
She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church. Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. No one. That's why it's closed. It was once a bustling place, back when I was young, and so was everyone else. Now, what catch we do bring in goes straight into a lorry for the Delta or somewhere else. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. Why, I guess I will, Harry. It just rolls off the tongue. I used to know a Harry. Strong lad, but dumb as a rock. He did too many narcotics. So many, he fell off his boat and split his skull on a buoy. Folks who saw it say his head cracked open like a melon. Nasty, nasty. Eh? What's this about? Come now, I can't read all the scribble. Tell me what it says. Huh, I might be half blind, but it looks like part of the village is gonna be a street. The best part, the part we need to get out of our houses. Have you asked Lillian about this? I won't even consider signing till I know she's on board.
The sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer? Oh, that's good to know, I guess. Why is it in the sea? That's great. Until then, you should maybe start thinking about the funeral.
Sire, she doth not believe it wasn't you.
Aye. Feels deserved, don't you think? Falling in the line of duty like that and all. And why so? Our things are part of our life world. They're made with human sweat and they share human history. We should care about them as we care about humans. To some extent, at least.
Life world? Someone's been reading up on last century Gottwaldian philosophers. Play it cool now.
If you say so. Are you? This says by signing, I agree to living with construction noise. What exactly is the Union building? What a nice idea. Wouldn't have thought that...
She sounds incredulous about the niceness of the idea.
That Evrart and the Union have nice plans for anything. I thought they only cared about themselves. Well, I guess Union members have children too.
And those members have a vote when electing the head of the local chapter.
Aye, if you say so. Probably better that way. I mean, who likes construction noise?
Police badge on which you see the photo of a man. You. Some seaweed is stuck to the back.
At least something good came out of all this.
Encased between two durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see a photo, a name, a rank, a document number, the date of issue, and, in the lower right corner, your precinct.
Harrier. That's long for Harry. So you are Harry. Evrart was half right. Probably not a lot of people know your full name. Whoever told him your Harry Dubois didn't. It's a wartime name, revolutionary. The kind mothers give their sons during troubled times, like Undying or Boxer or Ironhide.
It's meant to keep you safe.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Harry Dubois.
The badge in your hands shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information. The man keeps winking at you with his green-grey eyes. The photo is old, no doubt about that, but the badge is new. You used an old photo for a new badge. 8, maybe 10 years. The guy in the picture is rather good-looking. He's got a nice haircut and is distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. What do you think? His face is already contorted by the expression, although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. It looks better on him because he isn't in as much pain while producing it as you are now. Although there's already a hint of that pain, certainly. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see
Lieutenant W. Freighter. The lieutenant is a rank above sergeant and below captain. It's the highest rank in the RCM that still does field work. I am a lieutenant. The title of Freighter is added to your rank when you decline a promotion to a higher rank. In your case, captain. You have declined twice, thus you're double Freighter. There are many reasons one would do this. The rank above you in your precinct's décomptage might be taken, or sometimes promoted officers do not want to replace their superiors out of respect. And sometimes they just prefer the type of police work available to their current rank, in your case, lieutenant. Décomptage is the hierarchical system employed by the Revachol citizens' militia. It means counting down to 2s.
the countdown is modeled after the dual leadership system employed by the left during the revolution, which in turn was developed by last century experimental psychologists in the University of Königstein.
The lowest rank is junior officer, usually teenagers. Then there are the patrol officers, then sergeants, lieutenants, and then a captain. That's basically it, except for a few kings. Kings like satellite officers and the additional freighter rank I already explained.
The long and short of it is, you're his superior.
You are given the title of satellite officer if your partner is quickly promoted through the ranks and you rise with him. You don't seem to be a satellite. My pleasure.
Such a small yet precious thing, expensive paper caught between thick plastic, like a fly in amber. It reads.
That's just the serial number. Revachol, Jamrock, Precinct 41, with some numbers thrown in there for good measure.
The numbers are not there for good measure. They have an administrative purpose, one that's unfortunately been erased from your memory.
4 months ago. I'm guessing that's when you were promoted to the rank of Lieutenant W. Freighter. A new badge usually comes with a new rank. You seem to have been doing well then.
The pain in your chest tells you you were working yourself to death to earn that rank. The case created a lot of edge you have to take off. The death march really gets us going. You're pretty sure you weren't doing well, but better? Probably yes.
Yes, it's the designation of your precinct. 41, like mine says 57. The 57th is mostly industrial harbor, a lot of asphalt. The 41st is... It's a tough station to work in. You have all of Jamrock to cover. That district should have 3 precincts, but money is what it is. But then again, it's a legendary district, and a hell of a station too. It must be an honor and a curse to work with people like Price, McCoy, Berdiaeva.
Roberts, Feuerbach, Dimitri. Suddenly, names from your decomptage flash in your forebrain. And you? Is it an honor to work with you? Don't ask him. Ask yourself. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it, and a shining watermark. The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased, or his family member. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
We should first decide what to do with the body before taking any other actions. Let's take another look at the body and talk things through.
Winter, slow to let go of Revachol, flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. And to think, it seemed as though it were already spring. The melting snow seeps through your thin clothes. Grandmothers don't let their grandchildren out dressed so lightly in this weather. You look around. More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings, crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dock. The waters turn black, coals no more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower below the old mines. L'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery. Le Petit Rat braved the underground passageways, trying to get to Le Royaume, where the Philippian kings were interred with their doctors and their admirals. Mausoleums, burial chambers, leaf gold still remains on the double door of the morning. Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums and for fabled relics. Their parents let them. They go deeper. After rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safle and Seol during the time of the suzerain. In the burial chambers of the kings, Grand Old Philip, Guillaume II, and even in the mausoleum of Philip the Opulent. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors have been placed, so that daylight may eternally fall upon the richest of all the kings. The mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure magenta cocaine, favored by Revacholian royalty. Did someone say untold quantities of cocaine? Drop everything immediately and go looking for this hoard. How can it be pure if it's magenta? Snow falls, and there is no answer. Some things are not for mortals to know. Few petits rats return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child steps out of the black tunnel with silver trinkets in her pockets. All around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The snow melts on your fingers, turning to water. The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. There is laughter, lights, attempts at entrepreneurial activity, cynicism. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and a fine perch for winter birds. Like all monuments, it's also a warning. 6-story ruins on the south side of the roundabout cast a long shadow over the profligate king. A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean cube-shaped office building hidden amidst ruins. A secret. The abandoned church, one of 2 remaining stave churches, which were collectively called Les Sept Sœurs. The other 6 sisters were destroyed during the Revolution. A serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out on nearby islets. Little dots in the ocean that are occasionally submerged when the tide is high and the weather foul. The remains of a camp on a jagged piece of rock, a tent, old dishes and cutlery, long since abandoned. A hermit crab scuttles among the debris, looking for a new shell. Further out, the lights burn bright on Resurrection. Way beyond Martinez, a popular spa destination for ample-bodied Ozon kids with equally ample pockets. Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. You cannot see that far. The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water, air-brinier than here. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos. Wild pines, Zam, Maurien, and at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the coalition warship Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rise up against the market. You shudder. The raised motorway, 881, separating Martinez from Jamrock. Vehicles whoosh past one another day and night, while those who reside in the labyrinthine alleyways beneath the motorway attempt to carry on with their lives in the snow and the slush. And south of the 881 is the Pox. Was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during a measles outbreak that killed many children. Most everyone has avoided the hospital and surrounding park ever since. The Pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roaming in packs. The police try to keep the deepest corners cordoned off. Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something to get high on among the hastily abandoned supplies, or just to overdose in peace. A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 41. Snow settles on the roof of the repurposed silk mill. It serves as your station. Shivering RCM personnel hurry in and out of the main entrance. Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells. The stairs descend to Central Jamrock. A man named Cooklove has a snow-covered stall there in the market across the bridge. He sells kebab infested with fly larvae to your colleagues who believe eating it will make them immune to food poisoning. Snow falls on the utility district, the library, the florist, the Sarah Mauritian restaurant that offers homemade wine, and also on the brothels and drug dens and the chop shops of the Zemliaki. All of this built around a lake that formed in a meteorite strike. At the center of this lake, there is a little ship. There are lights at the bottom of its hull. They are lights directed toward the seafloor, looking for something, like whiskers. A chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Somewhere in the south, tarpaulin flap in the wind. More coalition aerostatics. Occasionally, lights flash as they maneuver through the falling snow. One large airship carries crates in its belly. Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff. The storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle. Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it, but who knows? Layer upon layer of sand. No need for anything anymore.
We should keep moving. Who knows when the snow will let up?
A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. Only some sunflower seeds remain in his soaked pockets. You already took the library card.
We should take another look at the library card you found on him.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head. Again, you have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3, or maybe it was just dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build, age approximately 50 to 60 years. The man has fallen through a crack. You have to be quiet. Or maybe it was just his expression is dull, like the sea. Height, 170 to 1. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75 liter Tallulah. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves, the blackness of death. Stench.
He ate the whole pack, right? I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
We do know that he was married. But you're right. Let's not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. No, I don't see anything that points in that.
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
A sequence killer? There's nothing that connects those 2 bodies. This is a completely different case. An accident. Yes, but I just wanted to make it clear it's not a sequence killer, okay? Oh yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol, but I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. Alright, we've already examined the library card. Let's call the Jamrock Library from my kinema, see if we can learn anything about this Billy Méjean. And while we're there, we should also call the station, let them know that we are taking the case.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. Red Astra is now. This makes partying look bad. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or 2. No mold yet. the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. Snow specks the stalks. Most of it melts quickly. The reeds seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
You set the apparatus back on the ground among the reeds. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it.
It's military, a service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
The door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea.
I'll wait outside to give you some time and privacy to check out your new living arrangements. But just so you know, after we are done with the day, I'll still be staying in the whirling in rags for the night. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
The key turns with a satisfying click. You can enter the shack now. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. You'll be looking like a pansy without the chops. A fucking pansy. Your hand trembles as you scratch your cheek. Oh no, that's not how a grown man shaves. Thank God, I would have cut your throat. The centipede is exaggerating. People don't actually cut their own throats when they're shaving. At least, not accidentally. A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation, producing a low hum. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy, but you're inside, and it feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Waves crash onto the beach, drowning the reeds. Far to the south, a congregation gathers to a soup kitchen in a shelter for the homeless. An old woman gives out knitted scarves for free. This could have been you. This could still be you. A down-on-his-luck nobody, trying to survive. Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Look under the floorboards.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman. You use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap to remove all that unkempt hair from below the nose line. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, producing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and persistent swelling, you look a little younger, maybe. You almost look like a professional. The water reflects back. You almost look like.
Yes?
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not...
We can sit on benches.
You can revisit.
A familiar apparatus lies among the reeds, another one of Morel's traps. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. You see slabs of concrete north. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap.
Neither does the lieutenant. He just raises his collar. It's cold out, as always. This is it, the scene of the party, the fire pit. Cigarettes and empty bottles all evidence it. Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose eye sculpture or a chocolate fountain.
Looks like it. Hey, let's keep moving, detective.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Hard to say. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building. Before heading south, must have been in a hurry.
No wonder the cafeteria manager seemed frustrated when he was giving us directions to the yard. Well, you did provide us with a very convenient access point to the crime scene.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. Where else have we seen a gang of men in work boots? That's right, the hardy boys in the mess hall of whirling in rags. 1. Standard work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 46. Just like Titus was wearing in his booth, this is the big dick, Titus Hardy, the one with the ball cap on his head. Is it? They didn't even bother to change boots. Putting them on the scene is easy, maybe even too easy. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. Either the blonde muscular guy, Glenn, or the young guy with a plectrum around his neck. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. The inked banger, perhaps. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46. Theo, the old smoker. You think you even see a tiny fleck of cigarette ash inside the print. 5. Another standard work boot, reinforced toes, number 44, same as before. Either the musician, Eugene, or the muscle-bound blonde, Glenn. 6. Light as air, same make of boot, but number 41. Small like a rat, Shanky. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens, and the tracks burn in it with strange beauty. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. The imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. Fat Angus, carrying something. 8. Another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole. The right sole is smoother, more worn. Curious. A missing 8th Hardy Boy.
7 sets of tracks, right? The Hardy Boys were here. That's all? Interesting. Then one of them seems to be missing. Anything else out of the ordinary?
Note to self. This would be a good question to ask Titus. Where's the 8th man? A leader like Titus doesn't let one of his guys out of sight easily, especially at a time like this.
I'm guessing that's the skinny Hardy Boy, the one with his front teeth missing. Yes, well, he did look a bit like a rat, you're right. Do you think those prints belong to him? I could still be wrong, but I'm probably not. 200. This could be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up. Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built armored man. Maybe it was a fat Hardy Boy, the one sitting in the middle.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows. Even easier to carry on a stretcher, or between 2 men. Anyway, it's for future consideration. What else can you see? Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the missing Hardy Boy. Wonder who he is. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor? Or maybe a drummer? A drummer only uses their right foot for the kick drum. You're right, it's stupid. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right. We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree.
So far, so good. Only one thing missing.
Of course, there were 8 tracks, but there are only 7 Hardy Boys.
Which one is missing, do you think? I'm going to say it was our old soul. Yes, I doubt the Hardys are going to tell us who this person is. For now, it's best if we just keep our eyes open. I'm sure our investigation will eventually lead us to the old soul.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Hold on, officer. I've got Central Jamrock Public Library on the line, and I've already introduced you to the librarian. Connecting the call in 2, 1.
Yes, this is Central Jamrock Public Library here. How can I help you, officer? Billy Majon, you said. Give me a moment, I'll have to check our database.
On Moreau Drive in central Jamrock, in a darkened hall lit by orange desk lamps far away from the noise outside, a middle-aged man taps commands into an old radio computer. A printout falls on the desk. Behind him, a lonely reader scours some dusty bookshelves, looking for a paperback.
Yes, hello, are you still there? I found Billy Majon's home address, is that all right? No phone number, unfortunately.
They're too poor to have a phone line.
Here we go, sir. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33B, apartment number 20. It's in Martinez, I believe. Capeside Apartments, it says. That's all. It says here that they returned their last book just a few days ago, but I wasn't at work that day. Marie? Marie? Do you remember a reader named Billy Majon? They returned a Tybalt book the other day. Yes, it was my colleague Marie. She said that it was Billy's husband who returned the book. He also asked for this new sci-fi release, Lowe's Radio City 87, but we don't have it yet.
Good. You have a name now.
Marie knows Billy. She's been working here longer than me. Sometimes her husband returns some books for her. Sorry, no. Marie only knows him by sight. Marie? She said it was an older man. and that she's pretty sure he'd had a drink or two the last time she saw him. 1 second. Sorry, Marie wasn't really paying any attention to that. Happy we could help. Goodbye, officer.
Anything else you need from me? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-4, sir. Glad to hear that. I'll write down that there is no need to issue a new one to you then. Over.
Feels good to get that off your chest, right? Celebration with beer?
Ten four, sir. Sorry, but I'm under orders to give a negative to request for personal information. Over. 10-4. Anything else, sir? Over. Roger that. 10-10. Over and out.
Can I help you? What is this thing? What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
This was mostly about the fucking cardio. Massive cardio here. You'll live till 90, or you get a heart attack from running.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it.
Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes?
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again. Goodness, how is he? Did he say why he hasn't returned yet?
He's fine, ma'am. As we had suspected, he couldn't get back earlier because the water lock on the canal was broken. Now he's just finishing up some work.
Oh, yes. That's my Morel. He's bound to catch a cold staying out there for so long. But I am so relieved to hear that he's okay. Thank you for putting an old woman's heart at ease. if even a little.
You haven't, however. There are dangers out there. Our aging bodies fail. Her heart won't rest until Morel is safely back with her.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there. The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it.
She had no fear, just surprise.
I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there, knee-deep in mud, looking around me. I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel. We were on our first date when I told him my story. You should have seen his face. He said my descriptions matched the phasmid down to a T. Its white marble limbs, the way it moved. Our first, yes.
The sigh is tender. The sigh is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express. Interesting.
Not all of them, as far as I remember. But some of them, on the inside, like stalks of marble, if that makes sense. It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case. Of course, I've thought about it, but Morel says my report matches with the others, and I'm sure I hadn't heard of the phasmid as a child, nor had my mother or my grandmother. So how did I know what to imagine? It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, "Lena, you trying to tell us you saw the Insulindian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here." They just give me a cider and ruffle my hair and tell me to stop dreaming. But I saw it.
I thought it was a wonderful story, ma'am.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. You see a heavy steel door with the cobalt blue surface. The door does not budge.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. A witness? You ain't got shit. The locals would never come to you with this.
That's just cop tactics, Titus. Next, he's gonna tell you one of us already rolled on the others, and is in witness protection.
Well, let's hear it then. Who is your mystery fella?
This goes without saying, but nonetheless, don't give out his name.
It's like you said, Al. Copper's coming up with this on the spot. There is no witness.
I've seen this shit a million times, Titus. Fly fishing. They are desperate. Tell us, Copper, what wacky claims did he make?
It's you assholes that feel the need to go around like a fucking brass band. The Hardy Boys are dead silent.
Yeah, it's like they put cowbells on you before they send you to the streets. What's with the cowbells, policeman?
They're avoiding having to answer this question. Yes, of course. Be polite with the suspects.
Arab guy? Boss, I think he's trying to say me and Theo.
Well, yeah. What is confusing you? Eugene, Theo, and Elaine were there, too. I already told you. We were all there. That means absolutely nothing to me. Sounds like some made-up horse shit.
It means the whole scene was long and drawn out, like it was from a film.
What is this fella's problem? Sorry we didn't make it more action-packed. It wasn't the first thing on our minds, you see?
Shanky. It's Shanky, right? I thought there's something wrong about the lynching story. Now I know there was.
You don't know shit.
I know you are lying, Shanky.
Great witness.
Okay, maybe it doesn't feel like this did anything to them, but they have to be fretting a little. Everyone is afraid of witnesses. Witness is a scary word. So much bluster to hide the fact that they're uncomfortable with you having this info.
What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. End. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out tool.
Give me a moment. I'm no one. Just an old woman who cleans these hallways. It's barely bigger than a closet.
And all she gets to... She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while.
It's about Victor, isn't it? It's always about Victor with her. You'll find the Maisons in apartment 20 upstairs. It's one of those doors on the balcony.
A weathered brown door. The number reads 20. Something smells good. Soup à l'oignon. The lieutenant motions to you to go ahead and knock.
You're right. Let's talk this through.
You hear light footsteps passing by the door and some folk music playing on the radio.
We have our first preliminary identification. In all likelihood, the deceased is the husband of Billy Maison. We need to confirm this, as well as deliver the death notification to Billy herself. Now, delivering a death notification is never an easy task. There's a reason why it's often called the most stressful part of our job. This is why it's usually done in pairs. You got this. I'll be monitoring reactions, ready to act if necessary. Dead? Just don't say that you know how they feel. You don't.
The lieutenant motions towards the door.
Hello? Who is it?
And someone turns down the radio. He gives you a short, encouraging nod.
The police. A moment, please give us a moment.
Tidying up, nervously.
Come in, the door is open.
Yes?
it's you from the bookstand. I don't think I introduced myself properly. I'm Billy. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Lemonade? We're out of coffee.
The lieutenant has taken off his foggy glasses and is busy cleaning them in his handkerchief for now. You're on your own here.
Is this about Victor, my husband? Is he in some kind of trouble again? I can come pick him up in the station if that's what. No, this is something much worse. Is he in a hospital? How bad is it?
How about some small talk before you break the news?
How have I been? You're not here to discuss me. What is this about, officer?
Can't write a scene without knowing the actors. Ask more. Get comfortable around her.
People got to eat. What is this about? Why are you suddenly asking me about my cooking? It's me, Victor, and the kids here. We have 2 daughters, Jenny and Jolie. Jolie is 16 and Jenny is turning 18 next month. The girls are staying at their friend's place tonight. And Victor is out. He has a problem with drinking, and so he disappears every now and then. He's probably in the box drinking with his friends. I sent him to the library a few days ago, but I guess something came up. No, I guess I'll find out when he decides to come back home. It shouldn't be long from now. He's never gone for more than a few days. Oh, it's in Jamrock. The one at Mayro Street. I don't know the official name.
Central Jamrock Public Library?
I think, yes, if that's the one on Mayro.
It is.
Just to return a book of mine? Why? Why all those questions, Detective? Yes. His old leather jacket. It's just your average brown leather jacket, but he bought it as a teenager, so... Yes. The lining is hand-sewn, it's blue. I tried to make the thing more weatherproof since he's running around with it in the middle of winter. His old leather jacket. It's just your average brown leather jacket. No, well, the lining is hand-sewn, it's blue. I tried to make the thing more weatherproof since he's running around with it in the middle of winter.
She folds her hands across her chest. Here it comes. You've done this before. Just keep your focus.
What did you say?
A great and terrible spike. The blood freezes in her veins.
Oh. Oh. But he was just...
But he was just here, alive.
We understand this comes as a huge shock. I want you to know that me and my partner are here for you if you have any questions. Take your time, ma'am.
What happened to him? Was he drunk? I see. And you just found him there, lying in the cold. How long had he been there?
If you say 2 days maybe, It will be etched in her mind forever. She blinks, eyes welling up with tears, as her hand starts searching for something from the pockets of her dress.
Here.
No. I just need to tell my girls.
It burns like acid.
God, should I call them? Should I tell them to come home?
No. A day.
Good. That's probably the right thing. Thank you.
She can't take much more. Her stomach is churning. Soon she will have to go to the bathroom and scream.
Just tell me, what do I need to do next? Where is he? Can I see him?
We've taken him to the city morgue. The local coroner will be contacting you shortly to arrange the funeral. Here's his number in case you want to contact him earlier.
A very good call.
Is there anything else that the RCM could do for you?
No, I'll call you if something comes up. I'm still... Thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'll call if...
These are her last reserves of strength. Her muscles will give in soon. Or
we should step outside and talk. You did well. I'll call the station when we're finished with the day, and let them know the name of the deceased. That's it. We should get back to our case now that our duty here is done. They'll manage.
they have to. It's not your place to live their lives.
Let's go. Yes?
What happened here? It will still be accessible through the apartment next to it. That one didn't have a door. Sadly, nothing of great value remains here. Indeed. The spread pattern of these bullet holes makes your chest ache. Your breath grows heavier. More old bullet holes. At least half a century. You peer into the faded marks in the stone. They peer back like an endless row of tiny black holes. Sweat starts trickling down your brow. Your chest feels tight looking at them. It's closing in, caving in, ever tighter. Your breathing grows even heavier.
You okay there? Might be the after effects of your past escapades. What are you looking at? Remnants from the revolution. These are over half a century old. Perhaps a crime of a sort ages ago, but no, these do not warrant an investigation. Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective on it. Should we go?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. I'm afraid I can't say any more until we've taken care of formal protocol. Did you? Wonderful.
She's memorizing your badge number.
It is a relief to see a W freighter here. The situation is precarious, to say the least. It needs a quick solution, or we will have a bloodbath on our hands. Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershaw West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenel, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenel contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
It will be all of them. The decision is already made.
It was the Union who strung him from that tree. My hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before Crenel indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
They would have to project strength and power.
The Débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath. Too many things have already gone wrong. Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. All we can do is keep that which is not from following suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in 3rd or 4th world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed. This matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. If you mean Lely, his service name, and he was 40.
Indeed. This matches the dental reconstruction.
He was, in a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol.
Somehow, I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. but my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semnes Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. His platoon members? The other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere. Challenge accepted. I say we do it.
Do what you have to do, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with? Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my...
The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The faded marks are too degraded to draw any forensic conclusions, just chips in the sandstone. They look pretty ancient.
Where? There? Those are old. These bullets were fired during the Revolution, over half a century ago. They do not warrant investigation. We should focus on present crimes, from the present century.
Hi, gendarme. Another rendezvous. Hello, hello. So what brings you here? Admiring the atmosphere. What about you, officer? Convenient. But what are you doing here? Talking to me? Oh yes, let's see. He knocked on my door a few days after the lynching. I think he was going through the entire building, asking questions. Nothing. That I didn't see anything. Why shouldn't he? What friend? No, I don't think it came up. Muscular, handsome, strong, like one of those military types. Yes, but he was speaking to someone on his earpiece. Yes, you know those tiny speaker microphones that fancy security guards sometimes wear. Just reporting back whatever I was telling him. Oh, let me think. He had an accent. He sounded like one of those mercenaries. He sounded vaguely Oranese. No, not vaguely, scratch that. He sounded definitely Oranese. Sure. Anything else on your mind? You did? And how did you like him? I told you, he can be very useful. I guess that's the charm of powerful people. A visitor from the first world. He's not like you and me, gendarme. He can always return. To his opportunities in Occident, sur la clé. Still, his coming and going brings some life to the village. Or is it just money? I don't know. Friends, I told you. Sunday friends. Friends who like to get together from time to time. That he won't be there when times get tough, I guess. It is. On Sundays. He has keys. And he likes the view. To the sea, I mean. What about me, gendarme? Admiring the atmosphere. What about you, officer? Really? Well, I look forward to that. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Hey, was there something you needed?
Well, well. Bringing him that new bird sure made a difference in his attitude.
Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers. Who told you that? Fine, yeah. It looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't... If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know, so I can forward them the repair bill. Yes?
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
Everything's still cool here, officer. You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits? Really easy to cook, no hassle, really cheap too. Buy some, try them out.
No hassle. There's a little of a hassle here, it appears. A moral hassle.
It is practically free. Yours for 5 cents a piece. Rock that tuna. Why not some macaroni too? No problem here, officer. I get all this from one of my suppliers, an extremely reputable guy. What?
A convincing performance. Bravo.
Look, officer, I'm just a retailer. You'd have to talk to my supplier if you got questions about the supply chain. That's how the game works.
Interesting.
No need to dress this one up. Just tell him what you want.
Oh, okay. But why, officer? Ah, yes. Money is very important.
Are you trying to ask for a bribe? If so, you're not doing a very good job.
Sorry, detective.
Hello again. How can I help you? Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive. Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise.
That sure narrows down our list of suspects.
He shakes his head, slowly.
Sure thing. Sure, man.
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print. stands out from the other garb.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind? Oh, high-grade narcotics.
Time to arrest him. Relax. He's merely joking.
Can't even get a few jokes past you, man. They usually get shipped to Grodd and the Occident. Though we've been making headway in the Ilmo.
The man taps his fingers.
Looking for something?
You could push him by asking him to show you the soles of his boots. He definitely looks like someone capable of it.
Been admiring the Stompers, huh? Sure thing. Check them out.
On the bottom of the man's boots, you see an intricate tangle of treads with no immediately discernible pattern. The wind howls over the bay of Rivershaw, a cascade of cold air flowing through the tangled city streets.
It sure is. Custom made. Cost me a pretty penny. For when the invasion comes, the last thing they'll see before the lights go out is illustrious Revachol.
It doesn't look like the lieutenant cares. He just makes a little note.
No, it's not like that. You don't get it. It's when I kick them, you know? Oh, fuck it. It's too complex for you.
The tear machine stands in the corner. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really...
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you! Things are busy enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
The hulking man oozes stark skepticism.
Don't think so.
Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving.
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in.
He's clenching his teeth. There is silent pressure behind them.
What it means. I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush in Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission.
Benital is one of the inhabited islands of the Seminese archipelago near the Pale. Covered in jungle, it was anchor point for the Seminese nationalists in the proxy war held on the islanders' territory.
He spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kipped villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon. At dawn, he comes upon two kids, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment for the week she lasted. Expired in the hands of Sarge Mason, the kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God, Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Said primitive spirits were watching over him now. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in your stomach.
No. I was in the domain. In Jamrock. Being a bouncer. Fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off. But
he's under orders. And orders are orders.
Go ahead.
All right now. Free commerce! Keep the goods flowing!
On the photo in your hands, the dead man's skin is studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them, littering his dead skin.
Free flow of commerce!
Don't talk to him any longer. Just leave, please.
Fucking Bob.
I'm going to interpret that as a yes. There's a tribunal, and it won't be long until it's ready.
How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's trying to get his right-to-work dance back on. It's hard to do that when you want to beat a man into a pulp instead.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's being reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing even by the standards of the Philippian kings. Old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy. During the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola. Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber, where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry, armor, and various chalices. He called it the Sol Auron. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person. But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy. Not just any nose candy, though. We're talking Royal Philippian Blow, allegedly twice as potent as the stuff you find nowadays, and purple. Philippian cocaine was purple. Cocaine. His Majesty's courtiers said it helped him connect with the higher realms. That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian Bay. Beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum, a group of marble pleurons still surround the king's vandalized tomb. A deathly cold wind sweeps up candy wrappers and old newspapers. The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled. Most historians think the coalition's hasty landing may have ultimately saved the statue. If the communards had more time, they would have reduced it up to even finer pieces. Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinez tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death. Not that he ever did in life either. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the squanderer, the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane." Not a good track record of mental health in that family. As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chestpiece. Something with great kinetic energy seems to have impacted the cuirass, around where the heart is. A bullet? Someone shot him in the heart. Interesting.
Okay, I can't see it, but I take your word for it. Well, Martinez is riddled with bullet holes. This place saw a lot of action during the revolution. But the statue is recently renovated, so maybe a joke? Target practice or a political statement? Why not? What this shows us is guns aren't too uncommon here, and people still shoot them, sometimes at kings.
The king stands high above you, surveying the bay, mute and indifferent to your sightings. The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands, in no response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her. No response. Wherever. An old call box with a matrix of push buttons. East Delta Commerce Center. This must be the name of the doomed commercial area. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies.
It's dark. And the flashlight works a lot better if you hold it in your hand.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the Revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others. Take it. You're a police officer. Police officers carry guns.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find. This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. And you slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in handy here. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand.
Equip the pry bar by going to the Tools tab in your inventory. From there, you can equip it to a held...
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. Only the black cable is plugged into the breaker box, while the red one lies neglected on the floor. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brow. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. The echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying.
What are you doing? Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
It's dark and grimy. The echo is so...
What are you doing? Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts.
it's you again. Are you looking for a dye? I'm listening. I'm pretty sure it still doesn't work, but sure, what do you want to know? You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom, albeit I doubt that anyone responds.
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the Dune commercial area. The darkness of this place is there, too.
Sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in a black marker, the production schedule. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. It's empty like a beehive without its... The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a... It's empty like a beehive. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. Oh no. It was already glowing and now it's also making a sound. It's probably some alien CO-like technology. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? The filament you have inserted into the reader. Yes. Is that the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress Accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Still no. Received. I will register this login attempt.
That sounds bad. A login attempt. Something a criminal would do. Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
On an island on the river Esperance, a small woman, all skin and bones, sits in a room filled with audio equipment. Thousands of tiny lights are reflected back from her prescription lenses, like stars in the dark.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Good. Please repeat the password. Received.
Don't worry.
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. Nothing happens. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Nothing happens.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. Yeah, by friends, you mean his squad mates from Crenell.
Wouldn't want to beat up his grandma.
Nervous, snickering. There's a rush of adrenaline present.
This is what happens if you take the law into your own hands. Other people start doing it too.
Let them come. The Hardy Boys are right fucking here.
You heard the man. Right here. We're armed. We got the whole district behind us, and Glenn. Glenn is fucking crazy.
Yeah. A well-oiled murder machine.
The mood is on the rise. They're feeling confident, ready to punch out the whole Merc platoon.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
We're not bees. We're men. We're socialists.
Easy, E. He's trying to phase you. So are the local gangs. The fucking Barmy Army and the Madre scum. You've been out there. Seen any around?
Yeah. Where are they now, huh? Sent back to Madre in an airtight cargo crate.
These people are trained military professionals. Special forces, as you said. They're not a gang or a Barmy army.
No, they're not. They're uncoordinated and drunk. We know more about them than you think. We got weapons of our own. We got Ister 50s, Zeelagers. Glenn's got a knock cannon at home. I guess we're gonna see, aren't we?
That was an unsure phrasing.
Yeah, like you've been up against ceramic armor. You haven't even seen the whole suit, right? I've seen the whole fucking thing, and it didn't make him immortal. Big fucking surprise. They hire psycho scum, arm them to the teeth, and let them loose in the city. What do you think is gonna happen?
He's really prepped himself up for this. He has to keep the fear in check.
We got weapons of our own. We got Ister 50s, Zeelager.
That thing has 7 barrels, 1 trigger. You do the math.
What do you mean, okay? No, they won't. Get out of here with your negative energy.
He really doesn't like you ruffling their feathers like that, on what might be the eve of battle.
All he means is that the situation is serious.
No wonder you cops get shot to shit every day. Can't go to war with an attitude like that.
As you look around this room full of sweaty men, swearing, drinking, spitting out tobacco, does this look familiar? You believe the place was called Precinct 41. It was also filled with, almost exclusively, men, sitting on desks, talking shit and wasting time.
Huh? You got a problem with beer now?
Not quite there yet. Push on.
You saying we don't help people? I've been doing this job for 10 years. Martinez was a dump before we put this outfit together.
They don't know, man. They weren't here. We had 3 shootings a week, kids dead, fucking graffito everywhere. You cops haven't shown up since the 30s.
Congratulations on the graffito removal. All I see is you sitting around talking about Monica's titties while there's a rape victim.
So what? What do you want from me? We took care of that fuck.
Don't let him drink that. One more push. Quick.
Titus?
She stops mid-sentence. That's it. You got him. He's going to give it up, but on his terms.
You wanna help her, cop? Fine. I'm gonna let you help her, but you treat her with respect. If you don't, if you question her, harass her, a freight train of pain, buddy.
What is her name?
Glacia. I'm on due. She's staying here at the Whirling in Rags, a real pretty one. Silvery jumpsuit, blonde. That's Amonju, with an O-U.
Shit. The girl upstairs? That can't be her. She knows you drank so hard you forgot you were a cop.
Sure, why not? You've probably seen her around.
You inexplicably add cool after the victim's name, with your eyes bulging like some wild beast.
I don't understand what's so cool here.
Nothing. We just have a few more questions. Then we'll be on our way.
Calm. Normal. Try to forget this little hiccup.
Relationship? There was no fucking relationship. He raped her. That's their relationship.
Was like that karaoke incident all over again. Or like some of the other girls he was harassing.
Okay, enough. All of this is irrelevant to your stated investigation.
He did it before we killed him. He's not gonna do it again. So what does it matter?
It would help if we establish a timeline.
All right. 2 weeks, maybe? I don't know. I need another beer.
Here you go, boss.
I know her.
How well do you know her?
A small twitch in the corner of Kim's mouth. He has a hunch about what knowing means.
Well enough, Copper. We partied. She's been here for a few months. You mean Revachol? Nah. Our Miss Aranye disco dancer is an immigrant or a drifter of some sort. Been staying over here over the winter.
Don't you give her any more trouble. She's just had Some bad luck, that's all. Shut up, Angie. She doesn't need your help.
Titus gives them both a look. They fall silent. What's with all the silences? It's like these guys don't know how to feel about this. You should keep picking at it. And what was up with the partying she and Titus did? It sounded fun.
What do you think I meant? Yeah, pretty much. No, we just fucked. That's all. I'm not gonna give you any details if that's what you're after. So put your dick away.
He really went out of his way to seem comfortable with this topic. That's all you're gonna get for now. He's doing a good job here. A commendable performance of I don't give a shit.
What do you think I meant? Yes, yes, and no. Got something to say about it? No, we just fucked. That's all.
He really went out of it. He's doing a good job here. A commendable performance of I don't give a shit.
You don't know her. Good boy. Remember what I said. Freight train of pain. Again? Seriously, man. Fine. Fire away. Yeah, whatever.
Officer, what was that? Yes. The victim? Is there something I should know before we talk to her?
Whatever you do, don't say the first thing.
Understood. You were not in good shape on Monday. This is unprofessional. Not sharing information with me is unprofessional. Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps, I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. They sort of seem to cover up some of the...
damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?
No response. He just arches his brow. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even. A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.